So in this video, I'm going to explain how I've designed my newsletter using the platform Force24 and Canva as well to design some graphics. So to begin with, what you can do is choose to open up a blank template. But what I've done here, you can see that I've already created this email, but I'm just going to go through some of the features and how I've done that. So to begin with, I started out with going to this layout tab here, because I had a completely blank email to start with. So the first thing that I wanted to add in was an image. So you click and you drag, which is quite simple, and it opens up this little box here. You can change the size of this here as well. So the table itself is 600 pixels in width. That is from the edge of the blue to the other edge of the blue here. And the image fits within that as well. So if you change that slightly, you can see that it also changes the size of the little blue box here, which is where the image is. But the edges here, they haven't changed. They're still 600, just like this. You can click done. And then to change this image, we would then need to click edit. You can add in extra columns. You can make it a medium size, a small size, and it kind of changes those aspect ratios for you. But to actually add in your image, you'll have to go over to the content tab. So if I just click on that image there, you can upload anything from a URL, but I was uploading things from a file. Click here and you can add in whatever you need to add in. So I'm just going to go back to the layout and delete that part because we don't need that in there. Now, adding in text is also very, very simple. If I just add in a little bit of text here, again, you can change the size of it and how far across you want it to go. But I'm just going to go in and start changing the text here. So it's quite simple. You get a little edit box come up over here where you can type in anything. So I'm just going to type this is a test. You can add a call to action, which is fantastic. You can add in a little button like this. So you can change the text of what's on the button by typing that in here. I'm just going to type in test again, and then add in a hyperlink to anything you like. You can change the background color of the button here as well and create a custom color, which if you know your hex code for any brand colors, it's fantastic. You can just put that in there and it will come up. And the same here with the text color, font size, font family, etc. You can also change what the actual box around it looks like. So you can add in a border radius, so it rounds off those edges there. You can add a border weight, make it a little bit more solid. And just to show you what that border looks like, you can change the color of it here. You can also change it to a dashed style or any of these. Some of them look quite similar, as you can see. But there's a lot that you can do with that. So if we just add in a button, that will come up there. You click Save Element, and there it is. Click back to Components, back to Layout, because we don't need that part there, and just delete that there. So what's really great about Force24 is it gives you some pre-made elements that you can add in. So if we just go to all snippets, you can kind of see ones that have been made for previous email campaigns that we've done. So for like the IoT podcast and things, if we load more. And then there are some that Force24 have implemented themselves that you can add in and just change and customize however you need to. So when I was editing this part here and wanted to add in 2 YouTube videos, the 2 most recent episodes before the end of the year, I actually chose this one. So if I just click and drag that in, because I can then delete any of the rows that I need, any of these columns that I need to. Go back in the content section. can change these images to images that I've created here, so you can see what you're clicking on. Give them a headline, and then they've got little hyperlink buttons here, which I actually turned into these buttons just because I think they stand out a little bit better. There are different parts that you can add as well. You can add in one column elements, 3 columns, 2 columns, whatever you need, and they kind of all come up with little different things. You've got e-commerce ones that you can use as well if you're an e-commerce business. You can add in dividers, which is great as well, so you can separate different sections if you've got different sections to your email, which we do. However, what I tended to do was just make sure that each section kind of looked different and was separated either by an image or by a little page break, because that little tiny section that I'm highlighting here, that's a page break. It just adds in a little bit of space so that you can separate your content a little bit more. You can add in buttons by themselves. So you've got things like this that come up, different headings, different ways of adding in content that you can then add later on, which I found so much easier than just creating everything from scratch. Obviously, it's just a very, very easy way of doing it. To create these little graphics, what I did, I had to go into content first. I needed to make sure that I knew what the aspect ratio was for these images. So it actually tells me here what the maximum is. So it's 600 by 200. So what I'll then do, go back into Canva, which is what I use to design most of my things. I can create a custom size. So it was 600 by 200, create new design. And then it will give me that exact size to be able to create, the right image size so that it doesn't get distorted and it doesn't look too big, too small, or pixelated. So all of these graphics here, the RDK graphics, these have all been created in Canva. This part here is also just one image that I've created in Canva to add in with some guests that we had lined up for 2022 and we knew that were coming on the podcast. So once this was done, if we go back to components, there is an option to send a test email. Now, I've created my own emailing list for just test emails from myself. So what I will do is click on that one. It tells me that it's going to be sent from me. I'm going to click the rdkpodcast.com from myself. And then where it says reply address, this is where I'll put in my RDK podcast email address, so that if someone were to reply to the test email, then they would reply to me. I'm going to make sure that the subject here is just RDK Christmas Roundup, and then I'm going to send that test. Now, in that email, that will send to my personal email account, and then I'll be able to view how that newsletter is going to look once it's sent. And that's how you design in Force 24.